Hello, everybody. I believe I this is officially my first podcast, and I have Miss Jodie Falcon here with me today, and Mary Marder. If you're on Facebook, Jodie Falcon. If you're on YouTube, and she will explain all of that to you, I'm sure. So, Jodie, welcome and thank you for being here with me. I appreciate that so much, and this is your floor, my lady. So you talk about whatever you want to. Can lead you with questions if you prefer, or you just, you know what? Tell us who Jodie is.
Oh my goodness sakes. I'm your first person on your podcast. How exciting. Oh,
Yes.
LisaMarie. And you know what? It's just a beautiful thing to have so many virtual friends. But then when you and I met in Nashville and were able to hug and have lunch and be in the same space-time reality, that was just the frosting for me. So
Isn't
thank you
that? I
for having
love
me.
that. Yes, you're welcome.
So I guess I'd like to start and introduce Mary Marder and Jodie Falcon. So there's two camps of people. Some people call me Mary, some people call me Jodie. And when my adopted dad and my biological mom enrolled me in Catholic school, that was way back second grade. Of course, you have to be registered under your birth certificate name. So I have this huge, long, ginormous birth certificate name, and the first name is Mary. Okay. The Marder is from husband number 2. I've had so many name changes, literally my whole life, but it was some middle of the night, July 2023, I had such a vivid dream. A lot of times when I dream, I'm actually watching the dream. Like I see myself like I'm watching a movie, but it's my dream. So this one particular middle of the night, it's my biological father. His name was Tommy. My adopted dad, his name was Frank. And it looked like they were in a coffee shop back in the 19th, and they're sitting at this little round wooden table having their coffee. And I can see them talking, but I can't hear them. But I had such an overwhelming feeling of peace that these two men were actually together. So the dream goes on, and Tommy, biological dad, turns and looks directly at me and says, "We think that you should call yourself Jodie Falcon from now on." Now, my nickname with my family has always been Jodie. I didn't get started being called Mary until I had to start Catholic school in second grade. And so back to the dream. So I said to Tommy, I said, "But why the Falcon? I understand the Jodie. Why the Falcon?" And he said, "Well, Frank, who is adopted dad, Frank's last name is Shaheen. And in the Arabic language, the word Shaheen means falcon. My adopted dad was Lebanese. And he said, you really need to call yourself Jodie Falcon because that's who you are before you even came to this time space." And I thought, whoa. So I just had to do that. Now, what's curious to me, and it's still occurring, some of the people in the Mary camp, they don't like this idea. They want me to stay Mary. No one in the Jodie camp has any problem with it. Isn't that just curious? So that's why Mary and I'm Jodie.
Okay. So normal childhood?
For me, it was normal. It is truly only by the grace of God that I'm sitting here right now and enjoying this Tuesday morning with you, Lisa, and everybody watching, because I'm not supposed to be here. My mom's last words to me were, "Why are you still alive? I should have killed you a long time ago."
Wow.
Yeah,
When was that?
did. Huh?
When was that?
She passed February 2014, so a little over 10 years ago.
Okay.
I was raised as an only child. I did hold her hand when she passed because she reached her hand out to me. I held her hand, and for the first time in her 87 years, there was peace on her face. So I really, really hope she's in a happy place because she was not a happy woman. She tried to kill me with a gun 3 times. And
How
yeah,
old were you?
the last time it happened, I was 34 years old, and I was a substitute teacher at the time. And I had my children were 2 little boys at the time, and I never knew if I was going to get called in to substitute teach. So I had them on their routine. They went to their little daycare center, every morning, etc. Well, this particular morning, I didn't get called in. So I went to my parents' house, which I often did. And this is probably 10 o'clock in the morning by now. And my mom, as usual, was still in bed. So I went into her bedroom and I asked her if she would like some tea. Yes, of course. So go to the kitchen, make the tea. She was a very prim and proper, had to have the porcelain teapot and the porcelain, very fancy teacups and everything on a tray. So I put all that together. And I'm walking into her bedroom carrying the tray with the hot tea. And this is hard to explain when these attacks would happen. She was a little tiny bit of a thing, maybe 5'4". But when she went into a rage, she had the strength more than a team of mules. So she bolted up right in the bed. Her crystal clear blue eyes turned black. That was my cue to get out. So I'm trying to balance the tray. She jumps and leaps out of bed, pushes me down. The hot tea, splashes on me. Now I'm on my back on the kitchen floor. And she had a gun behind her. It was under her pillow. And I'm on the kitchen floor looking up at her. And she has the gun right here. I can still feel it. She doesn't say a word. Her finger is on the trigger. And I said to her, this is your last chance. You'll never get this chance again. So you need to do it now. And she dropped the gun, went back to bed, pulled the covers over her head. And that was the third and final time. And I get to be here with you guys. So you know who's in charge.
What on earth was, for sure. What was going through your mind when you told her, you better do it now? I mean, I would have been pooping my drawers.
But see, that was my normal. So earlier you asked me, if I had a normal childhood. That was my normal.
Right.
Having a bloody nose, a bloody lip, bruises, scratches all over my body. That was my normal. I didn't know any different until.
So you were slapped around then?
Oh, all the time. All the time. The most difficult, challenging part for me in the whole scenario of now being an adult survivor of child abuse, the most difficult part for me, I could never predict when she would go off. And so my whole mindset was, okay, how can I be more perfect? How can I be more silent? How can I do the dishes better? I mean, at 7 years old, I kept the kitchen clean because she never cleaned house. Never. So yeah, a 7-year-old doesn't hand wash the dishes that well because back in the late 50s and 60s, we couldn't afford a dishwasher and there weren't many at that time. So, if she found a little smudge, that was it. That plate went across my face, or the mug hit me in the head she'd hit me in the head with the dirty mug or something like that. So, but that was my normal.
Did outside, was there anybody that knew what was going on, like inside the house?
Everybody kept the secret real nicely.
So people knew and didn't do anything.
Correct. Well, a couple of days after she passed, her youngest brother, my favorite uncle, spilt the beans. And he apologized for keeping the secret. Now, when I was about not even a year old, my mom's parents, their picture is right here. Where am I pointing? Right here. That's my mom's parents. I'm not a year old. And this is back in the state of Alabama. They wanted to adopt me because she wasn't taking very good care of me. Well, she threatened to kill them. And then when I was about 4, my favorite uncle her youngest brother. He and his wife tried to adopt me, and she actually held a gun to them. So some family members knew, whatever. Whenever my
Different
dad,
time. That was a
I'm
different
sorry.
time. I mean, it was a
Oh,
different time. You're talking the 50s and 60s and yeah, people just kinda they
oh, this,
minded their own
yes.
business, I guess.
Yeah, the
Mhm.
secrets that families kept back then, unbelievable. Like both my parents, and I'm talking about Frank, the adopted dad, because he raised me. Okay.
Mhm.
Both of them, a couple of times, told me stories about Tommy Carr, about what a horrible, awful, mean man he is. So that's all I knew. That's what I believed. I never met him. I never heard his voice until I was 43 years old. And no, he wasn't mean. He wasn't nasty. He was a lovely man, you know. So, yeah, secret that just my own personal family kept. Unbelievable. Yeah. But I'm going to go back to what I said before. I get to be here with you. So I would not change a thing because then I wouldn't be here with you guys.
Right. You know, yeah, it's but how have you justified that in your mind? I mean, how have you once you realize this is not normal? I mean, how old were you when you realized that?
Probably, I don't know, maybe 11 or 12 years old when I was allowed to go visit, you know, at a girlfriend's house, you know, after
Mhm.
school, you know, go to a girlfriend's house after school. My God. I mean, I can remember right now just being in another child's home environment and being absolutely speechless. Wait, mom says to dad, I love you. Dad gives mom a kiss. I love you. Mom is making a sandwich for the kids and cutting it up and asking, is there anything else you'd like to eat? I never heard those words ever. I mean, it
Hmm.
was just, it was amazing to me. But back in those days, I was always the first student at school. I got out of the house every morning as fast as I could. I
Mhm.
was the last student to leave school because I obviously didn't want to go home. And I spent every waking hour, 6 days a week, at the ballet studio. And that was my refuge. And the ballet studio was about a mile from my house. So I would either take the bus from school to the ballet studio and then walk home or vice versa, you know, things like that. So that's what saved me. I
Mm.
mean, seriously,
Yeah.
I do one performance. Who was I dancing with? It might have been Detroit City Ballet or Dearborn Civic Theater. I forget. The night before the performance, my mom was pissed at me for something, whatever. And she took one of my dad's belt and hit me, smacked me, whipped me in the legs with the belt buckle in. So I had, you know, open wounds and blood and all. Oh my God. But my only thought at that time, I have to put tights on, leotard tights, you know, a ballet tutu, the whole thing for the next evening's performance. So anyway, the blood had stopped by then, of course. And so I just put a lot of band-aids over where the skin had broken, and I wore 3 pairs of tights, which made the toe shoes a little painful because you know, my
I
feet
bet.
were, yeah, yeah. So anyway, but there you
Uh,
are.
wow. That's great. So, but you ended up, I mean, because I know who you are. I mean, you ended up marrying and having kids
Mhm.
and being the regular mom. You were a special
Yeah,
ed teacher. So was I. We have that in common.
I know.
I only did it for 12 years, though. You had 32 years in, I believe it
32
was.
years. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it takes a special type of person to be a special ed teacher, I believe, because, well, I don't have to explain that to you. It takes a special type of person to be able to work with kids like that. Now,
Mhm.
I had, I was able to work with all of them. I mean, the emotionally disturbed, the paraplegics, the just the learning disabled, just the ones that were having trouble with or emotionally disturbed.
Mhm.
Do you classify yourself in one of those categories at all? Or did you see yourself as just a regular kid?
I would say probably learning disabilities in the area of dysgraphics, which involves numbers, arithmetic, math. I struggled with that my whole time in school. I mean, I
Okay.
couldn't even do an arithmetic problem correctly with a freaking calculator, you
Mhm.
know? So,
Back in that time, though, there was no recognizing ADD. There was no recognizing
oh no,
learning
not at all.
disabled. So
Right.
you probably didn't think any different, right? I mean, as far as how you grew up. I mean, what I'm getting at, I guess, is for the most part on the outside, it seems like you carried on with a pretty much normal life, right? Is that fair?
For me, my living situation, that was my normal. All of us, we all have what we think is normal, but then again, what is normal? Okay.
Right, right.
That's a word that can be defined 10 different ways by 10 different people. That my normal wasn't right. That's not how
Mhm.
you treat children. You know what I'm saying? That's
Right.
not how you treat your husband or your wife, or, even before I started going to, my little girlfriend's houses and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I do recall my mom was a very tortured, mentally ill person. But there were also incredibly wonderful, beautiful moments. And it
Explain
was
that,
this,
Mary or Jody. Explain
yeah,
that to me. Give me an example.
I'm going to give you an example. It was the summer after fifth grade. I was bored out of my mind. And my mom was a secretary for a group of social workers in Dearborn, Michigan. So there was a place called the Association for Retarded Citizens, ARC. We don't use those words anymore. So
Right.
anyway, just out of the clear blue sky, my mom comes home from lunch one day and she says, "Get in the car. We're going to a special place." And I was a little scared. I don't want to be alone with her. Okay, fine. So we go to the Dearborn Association for Retarded Citizens, and they had a summer program for mentally handicapped children with physical disabilities. So the principal takes me into this one particular classroom, and it was fifth graders. Now, this is the summer after my fifth grade, and the physical therapist is in there, and she's working with a girl my age who had cerebral palsy pretty bad. She was in a wheelchair, and now she's on the physical therapy table. She had these ugly braces and ugly shoes, like from what's the movie with Tom Hanks? Anyway, so I was like the assistant. I was helping the physical therapy assistant, and it was not a light bulb moment. It was the warmest fluid feeling inside me that I have
Mhm.
to do this. So I spent every day, how many summers, just helping and hanging out and playing with those students. Oh, it was so fulfilling because my summertime was less involved with my ballet time. Okay.
Mhm.
So I was so thankful for my mom connecting me, making this connection for me. So, yeah, she was a powerfully angry, mentally not well person, but there were moments, and I hang on to those moments because that after the summer after fifth grade, that's when my second passion in life started. Ballet was my first passion. My
Mhm.
mom gave me my second. Well, in a sense, I guess she gave me my first too. You know,
Right, for
you know,
sure. You needed a place
I
to
needed
go.
a place to get away, to
Right,
get away. That's for sure.
right. Yeah.
And yeah, every holiday, every birthday, my mom. Oh, Julie, that's Julie.
Oh,
Um,
Julie, the new puppy.
that's my roommate's dog. Do you see her?
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. She's a 5-pound Chihuahua. And there's my Luna.
Hi,
Oh,
Luna.
guess what? I took Luna to the vet yesterday. She's lost another pound.
Oh,
Yay.
good.
So
Good, good,
now she's
good.
down to 103.
Our last dog
Was a seamstress extraordinaire. Right now I can just see myself. I think I'm 8 years old, St. Patrick's Day. She made a dress for me out of Kelly green corduroy. Okay. Little puffy sleeves and the crinoline petticoats. She made those.
wow.
Those were white. And then she took felt, green and white felt, and cut out shamrocks of
Oh,
different
nice.
sizes and shapes and all that stuff. My mom was a seamstress like nobody could see. When I first got married, she says to me, "What do you want your wedding dress to look like?" And I said, "Well, it's in December, so I want long sleeves, French cuffs, and neck up to here." And, I just kind of did this 2 weeks later, I had the most single beautiful wedding gown
Wow.
ever. She didn't use a pattern.
Wow.
She created her whole patterns. She was like a Da Vinci with the sewing machine or something.
So that was her gift. That was
Oh,
her
yeah.
gift.
And it was also her madness. She could spend 12 to 15 hours at the sewing machine, not get up to go to the bathroom, not to get up to get a drink of water. She would have frenetic moments where she would take all the dish towels out of the kitchen drawer and sew them together. I mean, it was almost like if sewing machine wasn't humming, she didn't know what to do with herself.
Wow.
Yeah. She would take pillowcases out of the linen closet and sew them together.
Interesting. And they did not detect, or if they did, it was with mental illness back then.
Oh, well, now you're talking about my dad, Frank. Okay, so understand, his parents came from Lebanon. So that's that whole Middle Eastern culture tradition thing. They were in the Maronite rite of the Catholic Church, which is like Orthodox Judaism. Very strict, beyond whatever you could imagine. All the men had control over everything. So therefore, he thought he was having control over my mom. And he wasn't just in denial, he was delusional, because when he would come home from work and he would see my bloody nose or a bruise on my arm or something, he would always say to me, "What did you say to her now?"
Wow.
So it's like, I can't win for losing.
Right. Yeah, you're a hopeless situation.
Yeah, so that whole upbringing was my interpretation, of course. Of course, it's my fault I'm getting beat up. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. I'm not perfect. That's what ballet offered me. Because seriously, it was perfect. It was on point. When I had my solo performances, always a standing ovation. So that was the only moment in time that I ever experienced and felt perfect and worthy and satisfied with myself, was when I was on stage performing.
Yeah. I know that feeling a little bit with my softball days, but interesting. But now let's talk about Jodie now.
Yes.
And what did you get out of those horrible experiences? What kind of person did it form you into being now?
I always knew somewhere down in the deepest recesses of my heart and soul, there had to be a reason that I'm here.
Absolutely.
I mean, there has to be something. And I knew, even starting with the summer after 5th grade, that the more that I gave, now at the time I didn't think I had anything to give, the more that I was helpful to other people, especially children that were less physically capable than me. Because you got to remember, to be a classical ballet dancer, your body physically has to be pretty spot on. So it was just so that they would want me in their classroom. They wanted me to be part of their lives. They could barely move. Some of them, I had to feed them because they could hardly feed themselves, or I'd have to, give them a cup of water, something like that. I live it today. Who can I help today? Who can I give a smile to? Who can I inspire? Um,
Have you forgiven your mother?
Yes, yes. And I have to tell you, let me see. So February 2014, she passed. And on that day was the first day in my life. Let me see, how old am I? 63 at the time, that I ever felt safe because I knew she was gone, right? So she could never hurt me again, right? It wasn't until I started my gratitude practice. And I do it 3 times a day. And diligent is the word. So diligently 3 times a day, have an appreciation practice, like gratitude, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't until I seriously took a deep dive into it. Okay. Wow. Like our friend tour, Robert Hollis says, the downloads, right?
Mm-hmm.
Started getting these downloads and I'm speechless now. And forgiveness was all I could think about. And once again, not so much for me. Okay. So that's a piece I need to work on. I need to start doing more for me, what makes me happy, right?
Right.
Before I start doing it and making other people happy. And once I started doing that, of, really having a sense of forgiveness for my mom, that's when all the beautiful memories started coming back.
You let it go. You let it go.
I did. I mean, how selfish of me to hold on to that ugly, nasty, powerful feeling of not forgiving, because that just keeps me where I'm at. And if God has kept me on this planet for 73 years now, okay, I owe it to him to pay him back as best as I can every single day.
For sure. For sure. Quite a story. Wow. What advice would you give to someone that is in a similar situation now? If somebody is watching and they're dealing with the same, what could you offer? What kind of advice would you give them?
If you have not been in psychotherapy or with a psychiatrist, you could start there. That's only going to take you so far. Highly recommend, because I never thought ever I have to handle this book carefully because it's falling apart.
You know what? I'm on my 3rd one. So I read that book too.
You bought it 3 times?
3 times because it falls apart. I mean, the first time I read it for the 100 days in a row, it was literally in
Oh, yeah.
pieces.
My 9th chapter in here is like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Right,
But you know
right.
what? I don't want to buy another one. I'm so vested in this book. And I'm not going to tell you who the greatest miracle in the world is. You're going to have to buy this book.
Yeah.
You're going to have to read it. Now, this is a novel, a very interesting novel. Okay. And I really, really hope that you take the 100-day challenge with chapter 9. And that's all I'm going to say about it.
Yeah. That seriously has changed my life.
Right? Back to the psychotherapy and the psychiatrist and all that stuff. This did it for me. Okay. So you can stay inside your brain and do all the talking you want and all those therapies, which they're good. Don't put me down. I spent many, many years with psychiatrists. A couple of them told me, Mary, you got to write a book. No, thanks. Read this book.
With ChatGPT, you could have that done in an afternoon.
I'm a slow learner when it comes to all that stuff. Oh, my.
I am too. I
mean, at the moment, I'm really feeling overloaded with it. So I'm just taking a step back from it.
Yeah, absolutely. I have to do that too. I hear you. So let's finish this out, I guess. This is very interesting, and I thank you for sharing your story with us. I want to know, how do you approach life and relationships now? I mean, after having gone through such a significant events plural, you know what I mean? It's how do you approach life and relationships now that you've been through all of this? Is it easier for you to build relationships?
Much easier, because you guys, the dogs are playing. I'm not on guard anymore. Okay. Hold on, Judy.
Well, they need a voice too. We're here now.
Can I take a moment and take her out?
Absolutely. So we can edit. Yay. What's up, Luna? I can see you. Hi, Luna.
Oh, thanks.
Yes,
I'm
that's
not
okay.
on
We can
guard
edit.
anymore. Yeah.
We can edit, so not a biggie.
Yeah, we'll wrap this up. I'm not on guard anymore. I'm not a manipulator.
Did you used to be?
Oh, honey,
Really?
it's the enabler of all enablers. I can write that book in a minute. Oh my God.
Name that tune.
Yes, I was such a manipulator, enabler. I trusted no one. If I gave you something, I expected something back immediately, if not sooner.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. The person I am now had no idea that I could be this person.
That's cool, isn't it?
Oh my gosh.
Do your friends see you as that new person, or do your friends that have known you, do they see you as that
Well, and some
manipulator?
family members tell me I don't even look and sound the same. So, yeah.
Okay. Just one last question, Jodie. Tell me what I'm going to ask everybody this. So if anybody's watching and I end up interviewing you, you are going to get asked this too. So what is your biggest vision? What do you envision for yourself to the ultimate? I mean, everybody has a vision, and if you don't, you need one. And everybody is constantly growing. If you're not, you're dying, right? So what is the ultimate for Jodie?
My continuous appreciation and gratitude to the dear Lord for his continuous blessings of love, abundance, outrageous joy, my continued good health and strength, wealth and prosperity in all areas of my life, freedom and fluidity with every breath. And I say that multiple, many times a day out loud. And those words have been downloaded for many months of my gratitude practice.
Awesome. Okay. That is it.
Everybody.
Jodie, thank you very, very much.
LisaMarie, I love you.
I love you too. This has been awesome. And thank you so much for sharing your story. I'm sure that wasn't easy.
Well, may I offer anyone who's watching this, please feel free to reach out to me. Endured, survived, and now I thrive. And if I can do it, damn, you can do it too.
Yeah, I agree.
Love you.
All right. Okay.